In the previous lesson, we defined decision-making as the intentional process of selecting a course of action from two or more possible alternatives. We learned that a decision normally includes an objective, available options, criteria, constraints, possible consequences, and a selected action. But this leads to another important question. Why should we invest time and effort in improving our decision-making skills? That is the focus of this lesson. Why decision-making skills matter. Decision-making skills matter because decisions shape results. They influence how we use resources, respond to risks, manage relationships, solve problems, and prepare for the future. A professional decision may affect employees, customers, suppliers, finances, operations, and organizational reputation. A personal decision may affect health, time, money, family relationships, well-being, and future opportunities. Even decisions that appear small can create consequences beyond the immediate moment. An effective decision-making process helps us recognize these consequences before taking action. It does not eliminate uncertainty or difficult trade-offs. It helps us manage them more responsibly. Every decision creates consequences. Some consequences are immediate and visible. Others develop gradually. Some affect the decision maker directly, while others affect people who were not involved in making the choice. Consequences can also be intended or unintended. For example, a decision may successfully solve an urgent operational problem. That is an intended and immediate consequence. However, the same decision may later damage trust, increase fatigue, or reduce future flexibility. These may be unintended and long-term consequences. This is why a decision should not be evaluated only by asking whether it solved today's problem. We should also ask what new conditions it may create tomorrow. A practical example, Sophia at the veterinary clinic. Sophia Martins is the director of an independent veterinary clinic. The clinic provides routine services during the week and limited emergency care during weekends. Weekend coverage is important because animals may require urgent treatment outside normal opening hours. It also supports the clinic's reputation as a dependable local service. Within a short period, 2 veterinarians resign. Their departure creates a serious staffing problem. The clinic no longer has enough veterinarians to maintain the existing weekend schedule comfortably. Sophia feels pressure from several directions. Pet owners expect emergency support. The clinic must protect animal welfare. Employees need a workable schedule. The organization must also remain financially stable. Sophia knows that recruiting experienced veterinarians may take time. She cannot immediately replace the people who have left. A decision is required. Sophia's immediate problem. Sophia focuses on one urgent objective: keep weekend emergency coverage operating. She considers temporarily assigning additional weekend shifts to the veterinarians who remain at the clinic. This option appears practical. The clinic can continue serving clients. The weekend schedule does not need to be canceled. The organization avoids the immediate cost of external support. The change can also be implemented quickly. Because the situation feels urgent, Sophia announces that the remaining veterinarians will rotate through extra weekend shifts until new employees are hired. The rushed decision. Sophia's intention is responsible. She wants to protect patients, customers, and the clinic. However, her decision process is incomplete. She does not fully assess the existing workloads of the remaining veterinarians. She does not ask how much additional weekend work they can manage safely. She does not establish how long the temporary schedule may continue. There is no clear discussion of additional compensation, recovery time, or personal responsibilities. Sophia also does not seriously examine other alternatives. The clinic might reduce weekend hours. It might cooperate with another veterinary provider. Temporary external professionals might be available. Some emergency cases might be redirected according to clearly communicated criteria. The clinic could also combine several options instead of relying entirely on the existing team. Because Sophia sees the situation mainly as a scheduling emergency, she moves quickly from problem recognition to implementation. The immediate result. Initially, the decision appears successful. Weekend coverage continues. Clients can still contact the clinic. There is no sudden interruption in service. The administrative changes are manageable. From a short-term perspective, Sophia has solved the visible problem. This result may appear to confirm that her decision was correct. However, the immediate result does not reveal the full effect of the choice. The hidden long-term consequences. After several weeks, the additional workload begins to create difficulties. The remaining veterinarians have less time to recover between demanding shifts. Some struggle to manage professional responsibilities, together with family and personal commitments. Fatigue increases. Morale begins to decline. Employees become frustrated because they were not meaningfully consulted before the new schedule was introduced. Some team members believe management has treated their additional effort as an unlimited resource. Sick leave increases. One veterinarian begins exploring employment opportunities at another clinic. Trust between employees and management weakens. Sophia's decision has therefore created an unexpected result. The immediate staffing gap was covered, but the clinic now faces a greater retention risk. A decision intended to protect service continuity may eventually cause another employee to leave. Why Sophia's decision process was incomplete. Sophia concentrated on the most visible consequence, whether the weekend service would remain open. She did not examine the full-time horizon. She also treated employee capacity as a scheduling issue rather than a limited resource. A stronger decision process would have considered several types of consequences. The immediate consequence was continued emergency coverage. The short-term consequences included heavier workloads and reduced recovery time. The medium-term consequences included fatigue, absence, and lower morale. The possible long-term consequences included resignation, damaged trust, recruitment difficulty, and declining service quality. The problem was not that Sophia cared too little. The problem was that urgency narrowed her attention. A more effective approach. A more effective approach would begin by defining the minimum level of weekend service that genuinely needed to be maintained. Sophia could then assess the current capacity of the remaining team. She could ask how much additional work employees could manage, under what conditions, and for how long. Consultation would not mean allowing every employee to design the schedule individually. It would provide information that Sophia needed before deciding. She could also compare several alternatives. These might include reduced weekend hours, temporary professional support, cooperation with another clinic, revised emergency criteria, or a blended arrangement. If additional shifts remained necessary, Sophia could establish compensation, recovery time, review dates, and warning signs. For example, rising sick leave, repeated scheduling conflicts, or declining service quality could indicate that the arrangement needed to change. This approach would not remove every difficulty. The clinic would still face a staffing shortage. However, the decision would become more transparent, sustainable, and responsive. Decision-making in a different industry. Consider a freight dispatcher who receives incomplete information about a road closure. The dispatcher must decide whether to reroute a delayed delivery. A quick rerouting decision may appear to protect the deadline. However, the dispatcher must also consider the reliability of the closure report, additional distance, fuel use, driver working hours, and the possibility that the original route may reopen. The first visible objective is only one part of the decision. Effective decision-making skill helps reveal the wider consequences. Common misunderstandings about decision-making ability. Misunderstanding 1. Decision-making skills matter only for major choices. Routine decisions can accumulate and create significant effects. Repeated scheduling, communication, purchasing, and priority decisions shape performance over time. Misunderstanding 2. A fast solution is automatically effective. Speed can be valuable during urgent situations. However, solving the immediate problem quickly does not guarantee that the solution is sustainable. Misunderstanding 3. Good intentions prevent negative consequences. Responsible intentions are important, but they do not replace analysis. A well-intentioned decision can still create unfair, costly, or damaging results. Misunderstanding 4. Only the decision maker is affected. Decisions often influence people who had no role in making them. Effective decision makers consider stakeholders and indirect effects. Misunderstanding 5. Experience removes the need for structure. Experience can improve judgment, but it can also create habits and assumptions. A simple, structured process helps experienced people test what they believe they already know. Misunderstanding 6. Changing a decision means failure. New information and changing conditions may require adaptation. Continuing with a harmful decision simply to appear consistent can create greater damage. Practical activity. Create a consequence map. Choose one current or recent decision from your professional or personal life. Divide a page into 4 sections. Immediate consequences. consequences within several weeks, consequences within several months, possible long-term consequences. For each section, consider the effects on yourself and other people. Also examine financial effects, resource use, trust, relationships, risks, and future opportunities. Finally, identify at least one unintended consequence that could occur. This exercise helps you move beyond the most visible result. Lesson summary. In this lesson, we examined why decision-making skills matter. Decisions influence results, resources, relationships, trust, risk, well-being, and future opportunities. Through Sophia's veterinary clinic, we saw how a rushed decision could solve an immediate staffing problem while creating a more serious employee retention problem later. Effective decision-making requires us to examine direct and indirect consequences across different time periods. 3 practical takeaways. A decision should be evaluated by both its immediate result and its longer-term consequences. Urgency can narrow attention and cause important alternatives or stakeholders to be overlooked. Strong decision-making skills help protect trust, resources, well-being, and future options. Reflective question. Which decision in your life currently appears successful only because you have evaluated its immediate result? Practical action step. Create a consequence map for one current decision and identify one possible long-term effect that you have not previously considered. So far, we have defined decision-making and explored why decision-making skills matter. The next step is to examine how decisions appear in different areas of our lives. In the next lesson, we will explore decisions in work and personal life.